What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Flop. This is episode 8. We're going to be answering the question, is there a greatness plateau? Is there a point at which you cannot get any better? Find out in this episode. But before we start this episode, I would like to say, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Leave a topic below if you have anything that you want us to talk about in the future. And also check out our merch. If you want cool merch like this, just go to our Teespring link below and enjoy the video, guys. All right, episode 8. We're doing it again. How's it going, Dad?
It's going good. It's going good, man. We've had some really good interviews the past couple of weeks, and it's good to be back to the face-to-face and talking about a new topic today that I think everyone will find very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're back to our normal format, just me and you. We did have some awesome interviews. We're going to kind of dig into the things we took away from those interviews. But first, we would like to thank our wonderful sponsor, Triple Crown. So, as I talked about in the last video, April 1st to the 3rd at Riverside Casino out in Iowa. You guys, if you're in the area, go check it out. Go get that money. It's an awesome event, and the prizes are pretty big. So, it's definitely worth your time, and it's just going to be an awesome event in general. So, check that out for sure.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. So, we just talked to Ryan Windsor last week. It was insane.
What?
I loved every second of it. It was really, really cool. And then the week before that, we talked to ACO Pro Justin Duke,
Absolutely.
which I got just as much great information out of that conversation. So right now, I just want to kind of dissect those interviews and talk about our main takeaways that we got. You go ahead, Dad.
Yeah, both interviews were really good, and I would suggest if you're watching this podcast and you haven't checked out either of those interviews, I would suggest watching both of them. I feel like there was a lot of really good information for players of all levels up and coming. I feel like that, you know, and what was wonderful about it is there were different perspectives, and there were different things that, you know, that Justin was saying that were, you know, kind of important to his mindset. And then there were different things that Ryan was saying was important to the way that he thought about the game. And so I feel like there's something for everyone. You know what I mean? It was just, I feel like really good content and definitely worth the time to go check out. So if you haven't watched those interviews, please go over to the channel and do so.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So I guess let's start with the Duke interview. Really awesome. Such a great guy. And, you know, something that we're finding out as we talk to different professional players is every player is different. Every player is a different, you know, person inside of their head, and different players have to implement different strategies to be successful on the boards. Yep. So as far as Justin Duke, what did you see in the interview with him that you took away?
Some things that I took, or one thing in particular that I took away that really just resonated with me and that I thought about long after we talked, and was when he talked about calling his shot per se. So like, one thing I'm real bad about when I go to a regional, and, you know, I know ultimately I'm going to play some tough people because I'm in an area that there are a lot of great players around. So I know that it's going to be tough. I'm never going to walk in and it's going to be an easy event. But I'm terrible about looking at the bracket and going, oh, God, this person's on my side of the bracket. I'm going to have to play them in a minute, or I might have to play them, you know, in my next game or something like that. Or maybe I got them in my first game and I'm just dreading it. I'm like, well, I already got one loss today. And one thing that Duke was talking about that really, really hit home was calling your shot. He talked about when he went to the Triple Crown event and he saw that Ryan Windsor was there. He said, I want Ryan Windsor. That's who I want. And so instead of looking at it from a fearful perspective, you know, have the confidence in yourself. Something that you brought to my attention this past week that I thought was awesome was you'd actually gotten it from a basketball podcast, but the guy was talking about have a rational confidence. Have the confidence that, you know, you've put in the work, you've done what you need to do, and you need to be rationally confident, like above and beyond what you feel like you're capable of. And so I felt like that lined up really well with what Duke was talking about. Like, instead of me going in and looking at the bracket and saying, oh no, this guy's on my side of the bracket, I need to go in, look through all the names on that list, find that best player in there and say, I want that guy. I hope I get him first. You know, because I'm going to beat this guy and I'm going to roll. And that's what it's all about. And I feel like I have thought about that so much since the Duke interview, and I've got a regional coming up this weekend, and that's the mentality I'm going to have. Not only am I going to believe in myself and be irrationally confident, but I'm going in there, I'm going to go through those lists, and I'm not going to be afraid of anybody. I'm going to find that guy, and I want him. I want that guy. So for me, it just hit so hard. So I really took that to heart, and I'm really going to implement that going forward in my game.
Yeah, that is a really awesome strategy, and you see that in the best at anything. You know, I think of Michael Jordan. I think of when he would create narratives. You know, he would say, like, you know, this guy said this about me, and I'm going to go in tonight and I'm going to absolutely destroy him for saying this about me. Come to find out later, that guy didn't say that about him at all. He made it up so that he could play harder and beat the guy. And it's like, it's just crazy, yeah, the lengths that people will go to mentally to accomplish, you know, things within sport and within anything. Mm-hmm. And so I totally agree. I just experienced this, exactly what you're talking about. I experienced it this weekend. I was at a regional, I was playing singles, and I won my first game, and then I went into my second game, and I played the guy who I considered to be the other best player in the division with mm-hmm. me, and I lost the game. It was really tight, but I told him after the game, I was like, I'm going to see you later. I let him know, I'm going to see you later. You're going to see me, so I'll talk to you later. And I was so upset about the loss, but I just let it boil inside of me, and every single game after that was a non-issue. I walked through my competitors all the way back to that yes. guy. Now, I ended up losing in the championship just because he was better than me that day. But, I mean, honestly, my goal was to get back to him. Maybe I should have shifted my goal to, I need to get back to him and beat him. You know, maybe I should have put just one extra step to that. But the thing is I made it back to him, yeah. and nothing was going to stand in my way. No competitor was going to get in my way on the way back to him. So everybody else became a ghost, and I was on my path to accomplish that mission. Yeah. So that was a really, really good takeaway.
Oh, that's awesome. And you did it, man. And I know that you were so proud of yourself, and I was proud of you too, because, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it was a goal. It was an accomplished goal. I mean, that was your goal. We talked after your first game, and then we talked after your second game when you lost, and you were telling me, no, and I told you, I said, you need to tell him you're coming. You're going to see him again. And you go, I already did. I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. But, yeah, and you did. Yeah. You accomplished that goal. Now, again, like you said, you weren't able to beat him on that day. He was just better than you were on that day. But you accomplished your goal. You said nothing is standing in my way, and you took everyone down to get there. So yeah, that was a big moment. I feel like that was a big step for you in your game, in your mental game that day. So that was a great day for you.
I appreciate it. It was a huge step for me mentally. That's the biggest mental accomplishment. I mean, honestly, and just placing accomplishment. But for me, it was just, yeah, I feel like I kind of made it over the hump, and I know that things are up and down. Yeah. I know that, you know, some days I'm not going to be as confident. Some days I'm not going to succeed and execute how I need to. But I do feel like I've struggled with confidence in the past, and through this YouTube channel and just hours and hours and hours of hard work, I'm starting to eliminate that doubt, and I'm starting to kind of be able to play how I know I can play now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, amazing takeaway from the Justin Duke interview. What about Ryan Windsor? What stuck out to you there?
Ryan's interview, one of the things that stuck out to me was his talk about dirty play and how he looks at the game and how he's not concerned with high PPRs, because PPRs, man, they're sexy, you know? For you to be able to leave an event and be able to go, yeah, I left this event and my PPR was a 9.3, you know, what about it? You know, that's freaking cool. But to be honest with you, I would rather take first in my division and my PPR be a 8.3 or an 8.0 or a 7.6. It doesn't matter. As long as, I mean, if you win, what's bigger bragging rights than that? I mean, is the guy who says,
Nothing.
you know, well, I had a 8.3 PPR today. Yeah, bro, but I beat you and won. You know, like there's no bragging rights in that PPR, you know? So when Ryan's talking about you will never see, and I love the absoluteness of the statement, you will never see me with the highest PPR, because that's not who he is. He's going to dirty up the board. He's going to make it uncomfortable for his opponent. And that was one of the things that really resonated with me. I mean, I'm a carpet thrower. I used to throw fast bags. I used to be a Viper, and I still got a lot of Vipers, obviously. Everybody knows that. But I'm a carpet thrower. I throw Vikings. That's my bag, you know. And if I can get in your way and I can get in your head and I can keep you from going hole for hole, I'm getting better at my pushes. I'm getting better at my roll shots. I'm hitting a lot more of them. I'm not going to say I'm a super high percentage, but I'm hitting a lot more than I used to. Mm-hmm. And so if I can get in your way and I can dirty things up and I can make you uncomfortable, that's what I'm all about. So anybody who's coming to the regional this weekend and you play me in singles, just know I'm about to get in your way. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it's got to be.
Yeah, just be practicing your airmail, man.
Be working on your airmail.
I mean, that's,
right.
You know, you live and die by the block, you know. I mean, you're not going to convince me that someone can airmail every single time. It's just human beings are not robots, you know. I mean, Matt Guy gets the closest, but
especially at our level.
That's about it.
You know, where you and I are, you know, I'm playing in competitive division. I don't know many competitive players who are a 40% or above airmail shooter. So, you know, for me, right now at this stage of the game, you know, a block is a great strategy. You know, block, muddy it up. And you know, this podcast may not age well at all. You know, maybe I get there this weekend and I'm just absolute trash.
You just get destroyed.
But I'm going to come in confident. I'm going to come in irrationally confident. I'm going to call my shots, and I'm going to play dirty. And you know, so I hope that you know, that's okay with everybody, because it's happening.
That's great. That's great. I love to hear it. Yeah, that was an awesome takeaway. I think that was a great takeaway. I think, you know, his talk about failing your way to success was something that was huge for me. You're not going to get away from failure in this game. You're not going to get away from losing. You're probably going to lose a lot more games than you win. But we try to close that gap with hard work and discipline and our mental game. And, you know, that's what we like to talk about on this show. I love this show. I love the show because nobody else does what we do. We talk about the mental side, and that is how, if you guys follow this stuff and we, you know, we really do try to practice what we preach and we try to live and breathe this stuff, we're going to get better. We're going to get better together, and we're going to be a type of player that, you know, can stand up to the test when things get hard or when things get, you know, difficult. You're down 17-6. Like, can you still be the same player? And absolutely, I think we can, but we have to train it, and it's hard work. So
yeah, because it's just not always going to be rainbows. I mean, and a lot of times, you know, you put in the work and you feel tremendous growth in what you've done throughout the week, and you know, all of a sudden you get there on game day and you just can't find it. And this is real. I mean, it's just real life. It's real with anything, you know? So, I mean, that's one of those things, is just being mentally strong enough. And that was, you know, one of the things, you know, Ryan was talking about, is just being mentally strong enough to refocus and get back in your game and get out of your head. And so I just feel like it's so important, that it's such an important thing to do, because it's real easy, like you said, when you're down 17, you know, they got 17, you've got 6 or whatever, it's easy to give up. You know, it's too easy to give up. It's the easiest thing in the world you can do at that point, is to just quit. And so it's really just trying and fighting and being mentally strong enough to push through that feeling of it's over with, This, you know, I might as well wrap it up, and just you know, keep going. Focus. Take a little bit longer to throw each one of your bags. Really let it marinate in your head and focus on each individual movement, each individual aspect of your throwing mechanics, and just let your brain take you to the promised land, so to speak. So, you know, it's so important. If you give up in your mind, you've lost, because I know, me personally, when I get frustrated and I let my frustration get the better of me, my game goes through. It just falls. It just falls through the floor. And then I start making small mistakes that turn into bigger mistakes, that turn into points for my opponent and things like that. So I have really been trying to mentally toughen myself. And that's where a lot of that irrational confidence comes in, is I front boarded. You know what? I got 3 more bags. I'm about to get a 9 right here. You know what I mean? It's like pushing through that and knowing you've put in the work, you're capable of putting that bag in the hole and doing it. So yeah, it was super important. And you know, the cerebral nature of Windsor's game and what we talked about in that interview resonated hugely. Was super pumped about the stuff that he said, and I know you were too, because we talked afterwards and we were both just amped. Like, we both just, after the interview, we were like, that's it, we're going outside, we're throwing 1,000,000 bags, let's freaking go, you know, like it was we were so excited. So but anyway, that was all I had to add on that point. But yeah, I was really excited about it.
Definitely. So yeah, guys, go check that video out, both of those videos with Justin Duke and with Ryan Windsor. We really learned a lot, and we really appreciate both of you if you guys are listening. So when we talk about great players and we talk about greatness, that brings us into what we're going to talk about today, which is there a plateau for greatness? Is there a level to which you can reach and you just can't get past? And how can we use that, if it does exist, to, you know, potentially cover ground and catch up and get better and start to compete with these people that are stalling out? And so, you know, Dad, you kind of brought this topic to be. This episode was kind of your baby. So I just wanted to ask you, you know, what is the Greatness Plateau? Can you summarize it for us? And then we'll kind of get into dissecting.
Well, we were just thinking, you and I were having a conversation, and I felt like the visual of Greatness Plateau, I felt like it made it tangible in my mind. And basically we were wondering, is there a level at which, I mean, no amount of practice, no amount of work is going to make you better? And truthfully, neither of us believe that that is an actual thing. But what is true is the incremental nature of your improvement through hard work, dedication, and focused practice. And that was something that we thought was very interesting, and that's what brought about the us having this as a topic. Was we were wondering, we were like, okay, let's take, you know, we use Matt Guy a lot. He's arguably the greatest cornhole player on the planet, though. So he's the perfect example in this instance to talk about this subject. So we've all seen him. He's Beast Ghost 11.5, which means that's entirely 4-baggers. You're only getting points if you're 4-bagging. So is there a point at which Matt Guy can improve? Well, the answer is yes, of course, but there is a huge but here, and that is Matt Guy is already so great that if he focuses every day and trains every day from sun up till sundown, and he focuses and he throws 5,000 bags a day, his growth is going to be very small. He is not going to take minuscule, a massive jump in ability over the course of a year like you will, or like I will, if we put in the same amount of time, because we have tons of room for improvement. And this was what led us to have this conversation, because we're trying to talk to players like us, players who are in the middle of the road, you know. I mean, I feel like everybody can get something from this, great players, average players, novice, beginner players. But there is a giant light and a giant hope for us who are in the middle. Because, and if you're in the beginning stages and you're in the middle stages, you have tons of room for exponential growth. You know, let's take a person off the street who's never held a cornhole bag. Their potential is endless. Because if that person who's never held a cornhole bag starts tomorrow and they start from sun up to sundown and they throw 5,000 bags a day, their growth between day 1 and day 365 is going to be astronomical. Now, they may not be to the level of Matt Guy yet, but Matt Guy's got years and years and years and years and years of practice and training and focus, you know. But that beginner player, their potential is just absolutely limitless at this point. So growth for that player over the course of a year is going to be huge. Growth for Matt Guy doing the same exact thing is going to be minimal. You only get to throw 4 bags at a time. You can't make any more than 4 bags, right? So how much better can you be? He's already a super high airmail percentage. Can he ever get to 100% airmails where he just never misses one? I don't know that that's physically, tangibly possible. I feel like there's always something that could cause you to miss, even if it's out of your control. But the point is like your potential is just absolutely limitless when you are still in the middle to beginning phases. So that was one of the things we talked about, and I thought it was so interesting to try to suss that out and figure out, like, you know, maybe the intricacies of it and just talk about it, because we felt like it was such a light. It was such a bright thing. It's just hope, you know? It's just hope that if you practice and you train hard enough, that anything is possible. You can make it to that level if you put the work in and you're dedicated to it. You know, it's possible. So that was one of that was the long and short of what I wanted to talk about. So
yeah, I completely agree. If you are worse than a pro, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. You can grow so much by putting in the same level of work that they do, and you will be there. Because cornhole, as hard as it is, we talk about how hard it is. We all want to throw 4-baggers all the time. We want to hit all of our rolls and cuts and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's just not like basketball or hockey or football or something where a player could physically dominate you and there's nothing you can do about it. No amount of work in the world is going to allow me to stop Shaquille O'Neal from dunking on me. There's just nothing I can do. But in cornhole, we both have 4 bags. I can throw 4 bags in the hole if I just train and I put in my 10,000 hours. Like, I can make that happen, and you guys can make that happen too. So definitely, it's just a mental trick that we use. These players are getting better because they're willing to put in the work, and they have proven it to themselves that they can play at the level that they play at because they're doing it and because they've put in that work. But it's a mental trick that we use to motivate us and to really propel us into all of that practice and hard work that we need to do to get on their level.
Absolutely, because, you know, the point you make about no matter how much you practice or you specifically train, you are never going to be able to keep a monster in the NBA from dunking on you. It's just not going to happen. I mean, they just can physically dominate you. No matter how much you train, you know, personally, you're not going to be able to go up against some huge linemen in the NFL. They've done it too long. They're too powerful. There's just nothing you can do. You cannot physically move this person. But in cornhole, size and strength doesn't matter. We each get 4 bags. And it's like you said, if you're playing someone and you're going hole for hole, you can train yourself to the level of not missing. We've all watched the game between Alex Hicks and Matt Guy where they went 50-something rounds with like 40-something 4-baggers a piece. It was something just insane. And the point is that if you train and you practice and you get good enough, you can put bags in the hole every time as well. And each of you gets 4. So your opponent gets to throw 4 bags and you get to throw 4 bags. And if neither of you miss, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a long night. But eventually, we're humans. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's a machine. You know, even Matt's going to throw one off the side every once in a while. And then you've got to capitalize and get your 2 points. Because he's certainly going to do it to you if you throw one off to the side. But that's what it comes down to. It's almost like it's a game of inches really, because, you know, a bag that's 2 inches off to the right, you know, that the corner of that bag might just glaze across the top of the hole. We've seen it happen a million times, and we wonder, why didn't that bag catch? But you know, it can be a game of inches. And if you're playing a game and it's 20 to 20, and they only, you know, you both only need 1 point, and your bag misses by 2 inches and his doesn't, that's the game. But you have hope, because nobody's perfect. And even though we have people nicknamed the robot and the throwbot and the machine, and there's all these different things out there, we're all human, and everybody is capable of making a mistake, and everyone is capable of capitalizing on a mistake. So it's very hopeful. This is a hopeful discussion. Now, it is very much based in hard work and making, you know, and drive and determination, because you're not just going to get better. You're not going to get to that level by just throwing, you know, once a week. You're not going to get to that level unless you are really focusing on the physical side of the game and the mental side of the game, which we cannot stress enough. We talk about it on this show a lot, but my God, cornhole, it's got to be 50% mental. It may be more. It could be 70% mental and 30% throwing a beanbag, because
probably
what you're doing, the physical act that you're doing, my 7-year-old niece can do. It's throwing a beanbag, but getting your head right, focusing, training, throwing that bag the way that you want to throw that bag, and with the accuracy that you want to throw that bag, is obviously physical. But sticking into a tough game, coming back from a big deficit, these are things that your mental ability is going to help you with, that the physical ability is not. Because if your mental goes, your physical's going. It just is. I have never heard a person say, I mentally gave up on that game, luckily I came back and won. No one said that. No one has said, I just quit. You know, I was down by 15 points and I just quit. Thank God I won that game. Nobody. Because it's just not, if your mind goes, you're done. You're making stupid choices. You're throwing an airmail where you don't need to throw an airmail. You know, you're throwing your first bag airmail because they threw a block, and you're just so over it. You're just like, whatever. And so that's why the mental part is so important. And I feel like that it just can't be stressed enough.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I hear Trey Ryder talk about this a lot, and he just says that when you get to that first place game, especially in the pro division, or, you know, it's true in advanced too, and you know, almost in every division, you know, it's really almost like a coin flip. You know, when you're in that final game, when you're in that last, you know, 4 teams or whatever, 4 or 5 places, it's like all of these people could win, but it's just who's going to outlast the other, who's going to be able to focus long enough. And you very well may say, you know, I don't feel like I need, you know, to work that hard to get to this level, and that's completely fine. Like, there is a place for you in this community, and that is awesome, and like cornhole is so fun, and it's still just completely worth playing. But for those of us that are trying to compete at a high level and want to be successful and want to play the best players that we can possibly play, I want to be involved in that coin flip. 50-50 sounds awesome. Great to me.
Yeah.
I need to be there, and it's zero if I'm not there. So I will take those odds every single day of the week. Now, for it to be 50-50, I have to work just as hard, or probably, you know, harder than that person on the other side of the coin. So, yeah, I just, you know, we want to be a part of that. We want to take chances. It's like, I'll drive 2 hours to have a 50-50 chance. I just will, because I want it that bad.
And that's why there are places for everyone. You know, if you're not interested in beating the best players in the world, and you're just interested in beating people local to you, you know, that's totally fine. You can do that, and you can go to your blind draws and go to your local little events that your local clubs have, and that's great. And nobody's going to talk bad about you. You do it, man. You do you. That's what this is all about. We're a community. We're a family. And there's a place for everybody. So that's very exciting. But you talked about, you know, Trey talking about at a certain level, it's a coin flip. It was actually, Matt Guy posted, I think yesterday, when he won, he was in his open bracket, and there were 10 players with 10 plus PPRs. And I know we've talked about that. That's not the most important thing in the world, but it's still very impressive to throw in the tens. So for 10 players, and that was just his bracket. Somebody made the comment. They were like, that's just his bracket. There were other brackets where I promise you there were other players with 10-point PPRs. So, you know, it's just insane out there. And it is a coin flip. I mean, if you've got a guy throwing a 10.67 and then you've got a guy throwing a 10.53 or whatever, either one of those dudes is capable of winning. And at that point, it's about what we talked about. It's about who's going to make the mistake, who's going to blink, and then who's going to capitalize. You know, it's wild out there. And so if you want to be the best, if you want to show up to these events and you want that coin flip, you want that 50-50 shot, you're going to have to work for it.
I wanted to read this quote that you sent me the other day from Damian Lillard, pro basketball player, plays for the Portland Trail Blazers. Amazing mental giant. He said, if you want to look good in front of thousands, you have to outwork thousands in front of nobody. And it just says, good players outwork great players. Outwork. And that is a theme that we've heard echoed throughout the whole episode with Ryan Windsor. It's just outwork everybody, trust the process. And so, yeah, we keep saying it, but it's just... And this work is not necessarily just, you know, just throwing bags, you know, at your house or whatever. It's something that I do a lot. And I was actually listening to a podcast just earlier talking about when you're practicing, you know, you can only gain so much from practicing by yourself. At some point, you are going to have to play against live players. And, you know, if it's basketball, you're going to have to play against live defense. If it's cornhole, you're going to have to play against another person next to you because, you know, we're only going to get so good playing in our backyard. And it's necessary, and our skill is very, very, very important. But our skill also needs to be coupled with that irrational confidence that we're talking about. And you'll see people, I throw amazing at the house. I don't know what's going on. You know, I can't get it together today at the regional. And it's like, you haven't been in that moment enough. You need to put yourself in that moment. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to every single place I can possibly go. I'm driving. I'm making it happen. And because I need to put myself in that moment so that the next time I step in there, and it happens, I'm experiencing it. Every time I go, it's a little less difficult for me mentally. I feel like I belong a little bit more every single time.
Act like you've been here. You know, you hear that all the time. Act like you've been here. And sometimes it's a fake it till you make it mentality. And it's like, you know, building that confidence, saying, I'm good enough, you know, I can do this. And then putting yourself out there. You know, you talk about you're traveling to do all of these things and going to everything you can find. That was one of the things that, you know, another thing that Duke was talking about in the interview we had with him is he was like, you know, it's great to play with your local people that you know, but that's like your home, you know. You're comfortable there. When I play at 901, this is my family. You know, I love these guys. I go in there and it's hugs and high fives and we're across the board from each other and we're talking and, you know, oh, it's an awesome bag, great bag. You know, just casual.
No pressure.
It's just like throwing in your backyard with your buddies. So it is very important to step out and say, okay, I'm going to this place where I don't know anybody and I'm going to throw bags. That is, I mean, it really is putting yourself out there and seeing what you're made of. Like, are you good or are you just good when you're comfortable? Because I believe there's a difference between being good and then just being good when you're comfortable. I feel like there's a huge distinction to be made there.
I agree.
So yeah, I think what you're doing right now is pretty awesome. And I wish that I could go to more stuff, you know, but obviously we're at different phases of life, so whatever.
We are.
But, you know, I try to make the most of what I can go to, and I try to practice as much as I can away from those events so that I'm ready, so that when I do show up to these places, I know that I've put the work in. I can carry that irrational confidence with me because I've been working and I'm about to show what I can do. So that's what it's all about. But yeah, it's good stuff.
We've all played against that player that just believes in his or herself so much, and you're like, how are they winning games?
Yes.
How are they beating these people? I don't understand. I can't. It's not computing. How do they win Their bag is completely sideways. They look like they don't even care, and they're destroying people, and they got first place, and they're on the podium. You know, like it's crazy, and it's because they believe in themselves more than you. They just do. And it's, at the end of the day, it's throwing a beanbag. Like you said, the mechanics aren't crazy. Yes, there's a lot of skill involved, but at the end of the day, it's throwing a beanbag. So, I mean, we've seen it happen, and you know, that's what I want. I want to think I'm better than I am, you know, and right now I don't. You know, we tend to be pretty realistic because, you know, all the data's on the ACL app. It's not, you know, you can't lie to yourself too much, but you know, you do want to believe in yourself, and I definitely think that you can win games on willpower alone.
We all know that player, and you know, I had decided I would have conversations about it with people and just be like, you know, how in the world is this happening? And I finally realized, you know, I'm like, you know what? It's not a big deal. This person clearly believes. This person clearly has the irrational confidence. They're doing already what I'm talking about wanting to do. So why in the world would I get upset about it or question it or anything like that? I'm just like, you know what? Good for you. I mean, good for you, dude. And I have decided that from now on, I'm a fan. I'm like, pulling, yes, do it. You freaking go. And I hope that I can get to that point where I believe in myself as much. Because it is funny. You know, you and I talk about being realists and how we try to be very objective. I try to be very objective with my skill level. And I tend to be more self-deprecating with my skill. You know, I'm like, well, you know, what me's going to show up tonight? Is it going to be, you know, the good me or is it going to be the, okay, there he is, you know? So I'm really trying to be more, have more faith and more confidence in my ability, because I know there are a lot of players locally who do say that, you know, oh, I'm a great player, and we get to the boards and they're like, oh no, I got to throw against you. Oh, this is terrible. And I you know, I think it's so sweet when they say that, but the instant thing in my head that I think is, oh, I'm liable to screw this up so bad that it's going to be ridiculous. And you just wait, because you give me an opportunity to crap the bed, I'm going to do it. So, you know, but again, it's like I said, I'm working on it. I'm trying to build that confidence. I'm trying to build that irrational confidence. I want to believe that I'm better, because mind over matter, you know, it is. And you fake it till you make it. And if you can just boost yourself and you can boost your confidence, God, it could do so much for you. So, I mean, it could take you places that you could only dream of. It's just a matter of believing in yourself. And I know that sounds like, you know, something you'd see on a 4th grade poster in the school, but it's so, it's so true. And there's a cat with hanging off a branch or whatever, but it's so true, you know. And if you just have that faith in yourself, then the ability will just manifest through that, because you're working. I'm not saying believe you're awesome, never throw a bag outside of an event, and just show up and believe you're amazing and play amazing. I'm not, you know, we're not saying that. We're saying you're doing the work. You're putting the work in. You're busting your butt. You're stretching your mental muscle. You're doing everything that you need to do. Now go to that event and be confident in yourself. Why? Because you got hours and hours that say you can do it. So all you have to do is believe. But yeah, I love it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely right. I mean, it feels good to joke around about, oh, like, we'll see if I screw this one up next. You're standing next to somebody you're about to play. It's like it takes the pressure off. We like to relieve pressure. We like to, you know, air it out. We want everything to feel cozy and fun and good. And the reality is pressure is a privilege. Being under pressure and being good at being under pressure, that is an opportunity for you to get better. So I would encourage you, maybe next time you go play, don't drink 7 beers in a row just so that you can, you know, not be nervous while you're playing. Or, you know, take your headphones out and let the moment be the moment and see what's really inside of you. How are you between your ears? Can I really execute when I, you know, don't know if I can, or I'm feeling the pressure?
I really like that. You know, feel that pressure, own that pressure. You know, when someone, maybe, I mean, don't be cocky and arrogant about it, but when somebody comes up next to you at the board and they say, oh God, I got to play you, that's terrible. You just be like in your head, yeah, it is pretty bad. I feel bad right now because it's about to be on, you know? I'm not suggesting you say that to the person, you know, but But you know, they feel that way for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same way that we feel when we see that name on the bracket and we're afraid of it. You know what I mean? And so we should take that as an honor.
Yep.
When someone says to you,
That's right.
"Oh man, I'm not looking forward to playing you." Look at that as like a, man, I really appreciate that kind of moment, you know, because you might have been the name they were looking at, saying, "Oh, dang, I don't want to play this dude." And so, you know, that's a big deal. And so I think what you said makes perfect sense. We all want to be comfortable. And if we say, "Oh God, well, man, don't worry about it, I'm liable to screw this up," it takes the pressure off. Because then if we throw great, hey, we threw great. They were expecting us to throw great, and we threw great, and so wonderful. But if we don't, we've already lowered that expectation in ourselves, and we've already said, "Well, I told you," you know. So, and anyway, but no, excellent point. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I really got that. I dug that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean they've done studies. With people that are about to do things that are scary. So I believe the study was actually done with people jumping out of planes, which is something I've done in the past quite a bit, and it's definitely pretty scary. So, but what they did is they told people, okay, before you jump out of this plane, I want you to, you know, recognize how scared you are or whatever. Be like, you know, I'm scared, you know, and then they have people before they jump out of the plane, and they change the narrative. They say, "I'm just really excited." Because if you notice, the feeling of being really excited, having butterflies, feeling, you know, bubbly, nervous, whatever, feeling excited and feeling nervous feel very, very similar. So it's actually really how you frame it in your mind. So if someone says to you, you know, "Oh, take it easy on me," like, you know, I don't know that I'm going to be able to, you know, hold a candle against you or whatever. It's change that and just don't follow along with that. Take your pressure and then just say, "Yeah, man, I'm really excited about this game. Like, I'm really excited. Like, let's do it. Let's do it." And so channel that, frame that in your mind, flip it around, because you can be feeling something in your body, and then you could be thinking about how that feeling is in your mind, and it can be a completely different result for you.
Excellent point. Yeah.
Heck yeah. So, guys, we really hope that you you know, got some valuable information from this episode. I really had a blast doing it. We're really just going to keep trying to bring you more awesome cornhole content. This Friday, we'll actually be launching our first bag review. Dad, thank you for filming it and doing it. You did amazing. I had a really fun time editing it. I'm excited for everybody to see it. It's going to be really good. And yeah, just stay tuned for more stuff. If you want some merch, go down to the link. We love it. We love repping it. It's awesome quality stuff. The shirts are very, very soft. I love wearing them. So yeah, but you have anything else, Dad?
No, sir, man. I'm just excited for the content we're going to be bringing. I'm glad that we're going to be able to start getting some more stuff out there. And I'm just really excited about where this is going. We've gotten so much positive feedback, and it really means the world to us. We are really taking what we're hearing from you guys and using it to fuel us. So it's super important. If you like this content and you want us to be able to grow and to reach more people, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. We've had several people. It's funny because we've had several people find the channel just randomly searching for it. So, you know, we really want to be able to get out to as many people as we can, because we do try to look at this game from a different aspect. You know, there's a lot of podcasts out there, and there's a lot of things out there cornhole related, but we're really trying to focus a lot on you know, mental side, merging all of that together with the physical, and just looking at it from a different perspective. So please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and then we're really going to try our best to get out some more good quality cornhole content for you guys.
Cool. See you guys in the next one.
See ya.